Hey there, I'm Casey with Age of 24. I've been a fan of this channel for ages. I figured it was finally time to share my wild revenge story. Now something you should know before we get into this. I've always been a bit of a pushover. My self-esteem growing up was practically non-existent, but I was working on it. Enter Aran, my knight in shining armor. We met in college and I knew he was the one. Aran was kind, patient, and understanding. This was crucial because I have chronic depression, and trust me, I could have some really rough days. But Aran stuck by me with no complaints, just pure love and support always. Now here's where the plot thickens. Aran's mom, Catherine, entered the scene. I thought, hey, having a strong, confident mother-in-law like her could be good for my self-esteem, right? Boy, was I wrong. Catherine was a force to be reckoned with, and not necessarily in a good way. Picture Gillot's fierceness, but imagine it directed at you all the time. As the years went by and Aran and I were still dating, I started seeing more and more of Catherine's true colors. She wasn't just confident, she was domineering. It felt like she wanted to control every aspect of our lives, and I, being the pushover that I was, went along with it to keep the peace. Aran was a mama's boy, and challenging his mom was like walking on eggshells. Plus, I didn't want to make a fuss because, well, for a long time I thought that I was the problem. I thought that I just couldn't handle her because of her confidence, and that I was a weak, sensitive little boy. Boy, was I wrong. Oh my goodness, Casey, what on earth are you wearing? It's just sweat. No, this is awful. Remind me to take you shopping. Come on, Mom, don't talk to her that way. Oh, shut up. I'm not talking to her in any way, just as a concerned future mother-in-law. She would always give me this hot and cold behavior. She loved backhanded compliments, so it was hard for me to determine whether she was just being feisty or downright bitchy. So here's the deal. Catherine, my mother-in-law, is not your typical middle-aged woman. She's the kind who still parties like it's 1999. And I'm not talking about a quiet evening with a glass of wine. No, we're talking shots of vodka, whiskey, tequila, you name it, just out here living her best life all day, every day. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand the appeal of a good time. But when your mother-in-law is throwing back shots, like she's still in college, it can get a little, well, wild. And this isn't just a recent development. Catherine has been a party animal from the get-go. In fact, her partying ways back in college is what landed her in a bit of a pickle, pregnant at 19 with Aran. Classic case of not knowing who the dad was because she was living life on the edge. You'd think someone her age would have outgrown those antics, but no, Catherine was still going strong. Now, I tried to cut her some slack for her attitude, considering her history. I mean, it's not easy being a single mom at 19, not knowing who the father is, and having little to no support from friends and family. But her wild and mean streak was taking a toll on my mental health. Every time I was around her, my anxiety would flare up like hormonal acne, and I'd feel like garbage. It was a constant battle between my desire to keep the peace and my need to stand up for myself. So I decided to spill the beans to Aran. I poured my heart out, explaining how Catherine's behavior was affecting me. Babe, we need to talk. What's wrong, babe? It's about your mom. I know she can be a bit crass and wild, but I don't know, babe, it's getting to me. Oh my God, I didn't realize. I'm so sorry. I'm going to talk to her today. Don't you worry about a thing. I know she can be a bit much sometimes, so I'm going to ask her to let up with the jokes and stuff. Okay. Thanks, babe. Just as he said, he had a talk with his mother, and for some days I felt at peace. Catherine didn't text me or apologize or anything. I just assumed that things were going to be okay. But obviously that wasn't the case. Catherine called me out of the blue one day and I answered it. "Hey, Casey, cut the crap." "Casey, what's your deal with me, huh? You trying to turn my son against me, is that it?" "What? What are you talking about? You think you can just waltz in here and make me look like the bad guy? Well, you got another thing coming, Casey. I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't act all clueless now. You told Iran that I was being too mean to you. It's not my fault you don't have any thick skin. I told him I'd tone it down more whatever, but believe me, I'm going to make your life a living hell. No one gets away with accusing me of something so stupid." "I mean, seriously, Catherine, wait. Please, let's talk about this. You couldn't even face me like a grown woman. How pathetic. You don't deserve any change or respect for me, huh?" Her threat scared the bejesus out of me, and it only made dealing with her more exhausting. But before I could say anything else, she hung up the phone and left me shaking, reaching for my anxiety meds. I didn't know what to say or do. It all felt like it was happening too fast. Unfortunately, she wasn't lying about what she said on the phone. As the weeks went by, it seemed like Catherine was on a mission to push every button I had: snarky comments, passive-aggressive jabs. She was a master of the art. The tricky part was that whenever the three of us hung out, Catherine would flip a switch. While Iran was around, she'd act like the sweetest angel to me, making him all happy. But the moment Iran left the room or wasn't there, it was a whole different story, vicious and rude with no holds barred. It was like living in a twisted game of good cop, bad cop. I felt like I was walking on eggshells, not knowing which version of Catherine I'd encounter that day, always depending on Iran to be there with me so that I could avoid her crap. The mental gymnastics of trying to keep up appearances were draining the life out of me. I was scared and exhausted, and I didn't know what to do. You might be wondering why I didn't just talk to Iran again. Well, to be honest, I was scared. The fear of what Catherine might do if Iran found out about what she was doing scared the crap out of me. I just decided to become a puppet in her little charade, all for the sake of keeping the peace. But whose peace was I keeping? Telling Iran the truth felt like opening Pandora's box. What if he didn't believe me because of how nice she was acting? What if he would confront her and she would put on a show and flip it back to me? What if he did believe me and the situation would just strain his relationship with his mom even more? 1,000,001 things could have happened, and I wasn't about to find out. I felt trapped in a no-win situation, silently enduring the storm that Catherine had let loose. Days turned into weeks, and I became a master of putting on a facade, smiling through the torment, pretending everything was hunky-dory. All the while, my stomach churned with anxiety. It was a relentless game, and I was on the losing side. Unfortunately, I didn't know if I could handle this any longer. I was even on the verge of telling Iran about everything, but I kept on second-guessing myself. A couple of years went by, and I did my best to avoid Catherine. But obviously, I couldn't hide from her forever. You'd think she'd get tired of bullying me, but I guess I was an easy target for her, so she just kept going on and on. She'd say things like, "You're so useless. I don't even know why my son is dating you. And you're taking all of these meds, but you're still such a shaky little mess. I think you need to get a refund, sweetheart." This is also pathetic. I was about to lose it. I was even considering ending things with Iran, even though that would crush me. But I wanted to prioritize myself and my mental health, and at the moment that seemed like the only solution. But one day I found a ring in Iran's jacket. He was planning on proposing. My heart melted instantly, and I knew I couldn't leave him. He wanted to marry me of all people. Could you believe it? I was over the moon, and those rose-colored glasses were on, honey. I started thinking that maybe Catherine would finally respect me if she saw that we were engaged. So I decided to button my lip about ending things and start being hopeful for the future. Well, After all the proposal excitement, I turned 23, and guess what? Iran decided to pop the question on my birthday. It was like a dream come true. I, of course, pretended like I knew nothing about the surprise, and we were over the moon. Surprisingly enough, just as I had hoped, it seemed like even Catherine was catching the love bug too. When Aaron dropped the news, she was actually happy for once. It seemed like she was easing up on me, and it was a pleasant surprise. With wedding bells ringing in our future, I foolishly thought maybe we were turning a corner in our relationship. Perhaps becoming family officially would thaw out the ice between me and Catherine. Fast forward 2 months, and the wedding was in full swing. Everything was rolling smoothly, and even Catherine was doing her usual party antics, downing drinks like there's no tomorrow and dancing like it's her personal nightclub. People either laughed, joined in, or judged her with their friends. All I know is that everyone was having a good time, and I couldn't ask for anything more. At least she wasn't being snarky or rude for once. A girl deserves some peace on her wedding day, right? Iran and I were on cloud 9, of course, soaking in all the love and joy. The day was special, one for the books. I couldn't have asked for a better wedding. With such a high, I figured it was finally time for me and my mother-in-law to turn over a new leaf. So a couple of months into wedded bliss, I thought, why not? Let's invite Catherine for coffee, just a casual hangout to build a bridge. I dialed her number, hoping for a pleasant conversation. But oh boy, was I in for a rude awakening. The moment she picked up the phone, it was like a switch flipped yet again. The warmth was replaced with frostiness, and she unleashed her mean and nasty side on me just like before. I was taken aback, wondering if I had dialed the wrong number. But no, it was Catherine, back to her old self. You think you can invite me to coffee? What makes you think I would want to be seen alone with you in public? I'm already forced to hang out with you enough. But I thought that things were better between us. Better? I never cared for you, Casey. I want you to know that. Then why were you being so nice to me these past couple of months? What was up with that? I was only doing that because I knew you had a wedding to plan. Sheesh, you think I was actually being nice? Don't make me laugh. You know what, Catherine? I did think you were being nice. Listen, you should be thanking me, okay? I cut you some slack because I knew my son would notice you being all depressed and mopey during your wedding planning. Then he'd start prying, and knowing you, you'd crack under the pressure. You're like a delicate little leaf just shaking in the wind. I had to do it. Consider it a wedding gift. I tried to salvage the conversation, thinking maybe it was just a bad day for her. But the more we talked, the clearer it became. She hadn't changed a bit. The facade at the wedding was just that, a facade. I hung up feeling a mix of disappointment and frustration. It was a harsh reality check. No matter how much I hoped for a better relationship with my mother-in-law, the truth was staring me in the face. Catherine wasn't about to. Turn over a new leaf? The question was, how would I deal with it? To be honest, for a long time I didn't know. The good thing was, I didn't have to know what to do because one day Catherine just up and left. Life has its own way of throwing curved balls, doesn't it? You heard that right. Catherine pulled off a disappearing act that no one saw coming. One day she just left us, vanishing into thin air like a magic trick, leaving everyone scratching their heads. At first, I have to admit, I was kind of relieved. Catherine's toxic energy was gone, and it felt like a weight lifted off our shoulders. While everyone was worried, I was low-key chilling. I thought she might be off somewhere trying to find a new rich man to exploit, thinking she'd resurface with a new story and more drama. Sue me for enjoying some peace and quiet for a while. But 1 month had gone by, and my relief was slowly being replaced with worry. Then another month went by, and we went into full panic mode. Aran and I started to get genuinely concerned about her safety. In desperation, we filed a police report, hoping they could help us find some answers. However, the police weren't exactly sympathetic or hopeful. They questioned why we took so long to report her missing. "The longer you wait, the lower your chances of getting answers you'd like to hear," they said. It was a tough pill to swallow. Aran was broken. It tore at my heart to see him like that. She's always been reckless, I know that, but disappearing like that for this long, something is wrong, Case. I can feel it. I know this is a lot to handle, Aran, but I promise you we'll find her. How could she be so stupid? What was she thinking disappearing like that? Do you think she did this on purpose, babe? I think you need to sit down, okay? This is a lot, and you need to rest. I'm so sorry about everything that's going on. As his wife, I did my best to comfort him, but the uncertainty was eating at both of us. A total of 7 months had passed, and we were forced to accept the grim possibility that Catherine might no longer be alive. We tried everything: search parties, news interviews, social media campaigns, but all in vain. It was a dark time for Aran and me. 2 more months passed, making it a total of 9 months since Catherine went missing. Aran and I had slowly started to accept that she might never be found. We were doing our best to pick up the broken pieces, trying to move forward without the closure we desperately wanted. Just as we were settling into our new reality, life threw us yet another curveball. I was in the kitchen cleaning the dishes when the doorbell went crazy. I figured it was probably just the neighborhood kids playing pranks again. But when I opened the door, I was met with the shock of a lifetime. There stood Catherine, alive but not so well. She looked like a mess, just dirty. She also appeared to be high on something. Listen, I don't have much time, okay? You need to hear me. What I'm about to say is going to sound crazy, but I need you to stick with me on this, okay? Okay, I was too stunned to speak because what added to the shock was that she was holding a newborn baby in her hands. Even though I was as quiet as a mouse, Catherine, in her crazy state, started singing like a canary. It was the first time I saw Catherine look scared, vulnerable even, and the entire situation overwhelmed me. I didn't know what to make of it. The woman who had disappeared without a trace, leaving everyone in pain, was now standing on my doorstep, looking like she'd been through the ringer. And what about the baby? The whole scene raised more questions than it answered. What's going on? Whose baby is this? Like I said, I don't have time to explain. The police are on their way, and I need you to pretend that this baby is yours and hide me in your bathroom. What? Oh my God, Casey, I don't have time to deal with your airheadedness right now. What part of this are you not getting? All of it. I don't even know why I came here, but I'm here now and I need your help, okay? I think they saw me coming here, so they'll be here soon. Take the baby. Not until you tell me everything that's going on and where you've been. We were worried about you. How could you vanish like this? And why do you look like that? Are you high? Is this baby stolen? What? No, that's crazy. It's my baby. She said that as if it was the most normal thing to say. I felt like I was in some horrible nightmare. It's my baby, okay? I gave birth a week ago. That's why I've been gone. I couldn't face you people with a baby bump. Who's the father? Some man I met in Cali, okay? Jesus, is this an interrogation? I told you I won't help you until I get all the details. Oh, fine. His name is Ernesto. He's this swanky guy who's really cool and rich. He's been my secret lover for like 3 years now. 3 years. Why didn't you tell us? Because he does some not-so-legal things. Is that why the police are on their way? Casey, you're getting on my nerves. Let me in and take the damn baby, will you? I swear to God, it's like I'm talking to a plank of wood so dense. Even in this crazy situation, Catherine still found time to be a jerk to me. It's almost impressive how she can keep up her bad attitude. I asked Catherine if she was sure the cops were coming, and she was all confident and scared, saying they were on their way. So, against my better judgment, I let her inside and took the baby. Time passed and no sign of the cops. Catherine, thinking they wouldn't show up, went back to her usual mean self towards me. Unfortunately, Aran was away on a business trip, and he wouldn't be back for another week. I didn't tell him about this because I didn't want him to worry. Don't judge me, I panicked. It was all too much to handle. So that means we were left alone with each other and a newborn baby to take care of. All of those feelings of anxiety came back. Catherine, maybe because she was high and slash or stressing out, started telling me more about her situation, stopping often, showing a mix of embarrassment and anger at her current problem. Turns out, this Ernesto guy she got mixed up with was really bad news, dealing in all sorts of shady stuff. Now she was being chased after by the cops because of the crap he was doing. 2 days went by, and it seemed like the police had lost Catherine. She had become ruder and ruder with each passing minute. She also dumped her baby on me like I was some nanny, and I was getting fed up. But just when we thought we might catch a break, I heard the doorbell ring, and to my surprise, 2 police officers stood at the door. I was holding the baby, and Catherine was pigging out on the couch when the police arrived. Catherine sprinted to the kitchen to hide like a kid caught with their hand in the cookie jar. The cops started asking questions, describing Catherine's appearance and wanting to know if I knew anything about her. That's when it hit me, the perfect chance for some payback. I was going to save her. But then I thought, why? Because all she's ever done is treat me like crap. Even now, after clearly making such a big blunder, she was being mean and pawning her kid off to me like she didn't give a damn. She didn't deserve any sympathy from me. So guess what I did? I spilled the beans, telling them I knew exactly who they were talking about, and surprise, she was in my house right now. The police looked relieved and explained that she was a dangerous woman with a lot of questions to answer, saying that they had been searching for her for ages. They said she needed to be arrested ASAP for her shady dealings. But before they could barge in and take Catherine away, I was asked if I could have a minute to talk to her. So there we were, me, the baby, and the cops, all huddled in the kitchen where Catherine was shaking like a leaf. Casey, what the hell? You let them in. Yes, I did. Why would you do that? Because you're an awful person and you clearly need to be locked up. I don't know what you did exactly, but you're finally going to get your karma. Catherine started bawling her eyes out, begging me to forgive her and to tell the cops the truth. But I wasn't about to cut her any slack and make up a story for her. I started snitching to the police, recounting everything Catherine had confided in me over the past 2 days and telling them that she was dangerous. As Catherine cried and shook, the police led her away, and I couldn't help but throw a little sass her way. Who's the one shaking like a leaf now? So now I'm just here, waiting for Aran to come home from his business trip. I don't even know how I'm going to tell him about all of this. And on top of that, we have to raise his half-brother because of this drama. Please help me out in the comments, you all. Give me some advice on how to handle this situation, please. Despite the craziness and having to face my husband, one thing I can appreciate is that Catherine's in a holding cell awaiting trial, where she clearly belongs.